Alrighty, y'all. Well, welcome back to our good old rest day videos here. So, today's rest day is a time lapse of me moving a whole lot of rock. It's you'll see here. I've got a little cart counter that shows up and just starts counting the carts off as we're shoveling rock into them. But I tell you what, this project to move rock really reminds you about what real labor is, what real hard work is. Anyone who does any sort of construction job or laborious job, that you know it. Those guys, they're built strong, man. I tell you what. Like they may not have gym muscles or something or anything, because most of them are probably too tired to go to the gym or they don't eat to build enough muscle. But the muscle they have is strong and dense, and it has the stamina because you're not going to get through 8 hours of shoveling rock or pouring concrete, framing, moving lumber around, roofing, humping around shingles, whatever. It doesn't matter without knowing that you are weak when you start doing this. Now, obviously, the weight itself isn't taxing, but what is taxing is just is like the repetitive movement. So, cardiovascularly, this is pretty taxing for me. Scooping these shovels here on day one wasn't no big deal. We get through like 8 carts on Friday, and then we went and worked out. You guys already saw that video yesterday. So on Saturday, though, you'll notice it restarts over here in the day when I'm like quarter of the way through this pile. But I will say this: it's Sunday morning now, and I just finished, and boy, oh boy, am I sore. But let's talk about like just bearing down and gritting through it. So I don't think one of the reasons why people finish their projects, they get halfway done with them, they kind of give up, is they just either physically get tired with it and they're so sore that they can't mentally force themselves to do the labor, or they're mentally taxed on it and they just can't think enough to finish whatever project they're working on. But they don't have the mindset to be able to force through those difficult times when things start to get hard, whether it's mentally or physically. And that kind of relates to a lot of fitness. Like, it's mentally hard to get yourself to go to the gym if you haven't been going. It's mentally hard to get yourself to the gym when you're sore, when you've been moving rock all day, and your workout comes up. You just got to deal with the fact that you're probably not obviously going to perform at your highest, and the lifts you're doing that day, it might benefit you to change what you're supposed to do that day. For example, this was Friday. That was supposed to be my second lower body day, and which is glutes and hamstrings. For me, that has hip thrusts, glute kickbacks, deadlifts, calf raises, leg curls. I'd been bent over shoveling rock all day. I'm not going to do deadlifts. One, my back's already tired and fatigued, and I've worked all those spinal erectors and the glutes, just supporting myself like that. Two, my traps are already tired um, from moving all this rock, and I don't want to put the strain onto those muscles that are already fatigued of having to do real heavy deadlifts. That seems like a way to injure myself. So, what we did instead is we still went in, we got our workout in, but we just kind of hit like an extra lagging body part day. So you can modify your workout to hit the stuff that doesn't hurt and isn't sore, but you got to keep yourself going in the gym. So, because if you start making excuses, even if it's a valid excuse like this, once you hit a certain point, you're just going to have an excuse not to go every time. And because you're accepting that you could give yourself an excuse. So don't let yourself fall into this habit of like, oh, well, like I did this, so I don't have to do that. Like, that's not how you're ever going to make progress. in the gym. You're not going to make progress on your diet if you're always having cheat meals because you went, oh, well, I went and did an extra walk. Well, that walk was probably only 100 calories, but you just ate an extra 800. Um, or say, you're working towards a pay raise or something and you got to put in, say, 2 extra hours a day, or you got to increase your production by 10% or something, and you realize, like, hey, that's hard. And then you're just like, oh, you know what, like that pay raise isn't worth it. But what you're forgetting though is if you put in that little extra time, sure, that pay raise may not have been worth it, but the pay raise after that or the position you're going to get afterwards may be something you didn't even think was attainable, but because you showed that perseverance and that hard work, you're ahead of where you're going to end up being at. But people stop short all the time. And I think that's a big issue is like we don't encourage people pushing hard anymore. Like, I mean, if you're already, freaking been at a company for 10 years, they've denied you a few pay raises, then you know what, whatever. Like, you can fuck that off. You're just there to collect a check, you've accepted it, and you're not willing to find another job. So, that kind of is what it is. Like, those situations occur. I don't, like, specifically condone it. If you're not happy at your job, you should be looking for another job. But that's kind of the way I look at that. So now let's talk about like recovery and soreness here. Because obviously, after this first day, I woke up yesterday sore. Lower back sore, abs sore, traps are sore, delts are sore, biceps and triceps are sore, and, calves are sore from just being in that like lunge type position while shoveling. And man, was it hard to get going on Saturday because it's supposed to be a rest day. I went and did my walk. I already felt kind of exhausted. The big calorie deficit. Um, it was brutal. But I told myself I had to go out there and do it. And not only did I do it, I got a lot of rock moved. I did 14 carts on Saturday. I did 8 on Friday and then 14 on Saturday. And I only had to do 1 this morning. So I feel pretty good about that. Because I was hoping to try to get it all done, but I just had no more oomph at the end of the day. But that doesn't matter much. We got it done. So we went ahead and took our BCAAs. We took our creatine with our glutamine in it, and we have been drinking water like crazy to make sure we can stay hydrated. We don't want to dehydrate the muscle, get muscle cramps. That extra dehydration can lead to, strains and pulls, things like that. You don't want to deal with that. So, we just kind of, once we started working, we got into like our second or third cart. Everything kind of loosened back up. That lactic acid was getting pushed out of the muscle. And it didn't feel so bad. Like, I could tell, obviously, it was like fatigued, but the soreness went away. And that's a big deal, Like, you might still feel a little sore, but if you go in and hit a couple sets of that muscle, all of a sudden it might just light right back up and be ready to rock. So, now obviously, if you're feeling like that all of the time, that's going to be an issue. You definitely do not want to feel as though you are continuously sore and not ready to work out. So that means your recovery isn't enough, your workload might be a little too heavy, or the order in which you're doing your workouts on which days might just not kind of need to be swapped around because you're might be hitting something twice as a primary and then a secondary, and so it just can't recover fast enough. But it's okay to hit some muscle groups when they're still a little tender, and that kind of comes into this style of labor here. It's tedious, it's not too demanding, it just builds up over time. So don't be afraid to work out and get like work done. It's okay. Your body's going to adapt to it. Eventually, you're going to end up strong enough and with enough stamina that whatever normal life is no longer going to affect your workouts. Obviously, sleep and stuff is related to that, but that's a whole different topic. We're just talking about physical recovery and the time it takes. So with that, that's kind of, where I'm at today now. Oddly enough, I'm doing this voiceover and editing same day of this posting, even though this video has been shot over 2 days for now, for our rest day. We definitely are probably going to be a little fatigued when we go in to hit lagging body parts today, but I am going to hit all of my movements today, including the back ones and all of that. Weight probably going to be quite a bit lower than what I'd normally try to work at, but everything is fatigued and sore. So I still want to go in and push blood into those muscles, because the more blood I can get into it, the more lactic acid we're going to push out of the muscle, the more hydration we're going to get into it, and the more nutrients that's going to be available to that muscle tissue to recover. So that's the way we're kind of looking at it. Now, we can basically kind of leave this off here today on what we're going to talk about. So, don't be afraid to push yourself to do hard things, because when you get it done, you are going to feel much, much better about it. Like, this got real hard towards the end of that first day. It was real hard yesterday, but I finished up this morning, and man, it looks awesome. It looks so nice. I'm so proud of the work I'm doing and being able to accomplish and get done. And even with my disability, it kind of hindering me at times, it feels good to still complete tasks and complete like large projects like this. So sure, it's taken me a little while longer probably, to do like the concrete forms and pour the concrete, things like that, get it finished. And sure, my leveling work on the rock's probably not the best, but overall, I was able to get through it, get it done, and I accomplished another task that most people just probably will never end up doing. One, because it's hard, but two, like a lot of people just underestimate themselves and they're afraid to tackle new tasks. So, with that, guys, I've got a little outro already filmed for this. So we're just going to go ahead and let this roll. Alrighty, y'all. Well, so we just finished up here, getting this rock moved over here into this corner for this part of our rest day projects. And man, oh man, it looks pretty good. Let me go ahead and share this with y'all. So, this is that curb we poured a couple weekends ago. Then we dug that trench with the drainage down underneath. But now we've just got it all filled up with the rock. So I've got this set up here. I got to get these bricks re-put in here, but got the bricks, small little lip, comes into the rocks. It's graded upwards to the deck here with the rock fill. It slopes down over to here. This slopes down to here, and that drainage line runs right on through here. You could actually see it in the rocks exactly where that is, because it's pulling the moisture out of there. So with that, it's all rocked over. Everything's set up to go to that drain. And as you guys already saw in the other rest day video, when we're doing the drainage stuff, goes underneath the deck, goes out into the front yard, dumps in the street. So with that, we have a pretty nice looking little area now over here, versus it just being a bunch of weeds, dead grass, and having some drainage problems. So we got to take care of all those issues
and now it looks real nice. So I definitely think this little project here was a success. Now my next project, I've got to go ahead and work on, we have this little semicircle out front that goes against the road and around our driveway. So I've got to dig that thing down, and I've got the rock to fill that in. So that's what I'll be starting on now, even though today is our lagging muscle group day. So this took me Friday morning and afternoon, and then we did that modified workout day because I didn't want to hit legs after moving all that rock. Then all day yesterday, morning to evening. You'll see that in the time lapse, as well as this morning here. So now I got to go get this video edited so I could get it posted today. And then I'll see you guys tomorrow for my lagging body part day. And then after that, the next rest day video on Monday, we'll go ahead and talk about something, and it'll be the semicircle time lapse.